Hi everybody, we're going to kick off in about 5 minutes. So for now, if you would like to post any questions that you have into the comment box, I'll do my best to get to them. Hi there, I see I've had somebody come on and join me. We're going to kick off in just another minute or so. If you would like to type any questions that you've got into the chat box, I'll do my best to get to those for you. No questions? Well, this is my first Google Hangout, so I'm pleased to see that everything's actually working as it should. I was hoping not to have any tech issues, and it looks like we have smooth sailing, so far so good. Just a reminder to please type in any questions that you have into the chat box so that I can be sure to answer those questions for you. Just another minute or so of starting. Okay, I'm a stickler for being on time, so I'm going to kick off pretty much right on time. So what I want to start with is just sharing a little bit about the story and what prompted me to post those comments in on Friday night. I had, about 3 months ago, I had the idea for my third book, The Art of Kicking Ass Elegantly in Business, in Love, now I've forgotten the subtitle. Anyway, it's my third book, and the idea for that book actually came to me while I was writing my first book. It kept tapping me on the shoulder, and I just kept ignoring it, thinking, no, I've got to concentrate on this next thing first, and then I need to get this done. And so this book had been a long time coming, and virtually wrote itself when the day came. But within just a little over 3 months, I went from this idea for this book and starting the writing process to selling $66,000 worth of programs, which happened last Friday. So the idea behind the event was to sell people into my high-end mastermind program. And so I'm just going to step you through the process of that, because I had a lot of questions about exactly how I did it. So the first thing that I did was decided what it was that I was going to focus on for 2015. And the decision was to focus on a high-end 12-month luxury business and lifestyle mastermind. For me, that was going to be my signature program for the year. I decided that was going to be my Eiffel Tower, the thing that I stood for, the thing that people would come to know me for. And so I knew that this was going to be an expensive program. The cost of the program on the day at the event is $22,000 for the program. So I knew then that if I was going to convert people into this program, I needed to get in front of them. And I needed to fill a room with people, and I needed to fill the room with the right type of people, the ones that were going to convert and go forward and purchase the 12-month program. And that's exactly what I did. So the first thing that I did, I guess, was just set the date and book the venue, and knew that I had to just make sure that those events were filled. And I'll be honest, I've had over the last year, I think I set the date and booked the venue for maybe 3 other events for my other brand, which is the Honourable Martial Arts Entrepreneur. So I sell business programs to martial arts school owners as well. So I had, as I said, I'd set the date, gone, check the venues out, book the venues, and I'd probably done that 3 times and cancelled the events just because, you know, I just didn't get my shit together to do it. So I'd actually sold, I'd run an event the previous 12 months and you know, made a lot of money on that event as well. So I knew I could do it. It's just I got a little bit distracted, I think, and it just seemed like hard work to fill events. Filling that one that converted really well was hard work. It was a lot of hard work to do it. And just every time I stepped back into that space and thought about filling an event again, I just instantly thought of the workload and the stress around it, and I would step away from it. But I knew with this new brand, The Art of Kicking Ass Elegantly, I knew that if I wanted to sell this high-end program, I had to get in front of people. I had to fill a room, and I had to get the right people in the room. And so that's what I did. So the first thing that I did was I set the date and found the venue. And what was important about the venue and the way that I marketed this event was that the venue had to be high-end. It had to be very luxurious, and the event itself had to speak towards the bigger offer that I was, the bigger program that I was going to be offering on the day. And so when I chose the venue, I made sure that it was synonymous with my brand. And I held the event at the Prince, which is in St Kilda, and I hired their beautiful little dining room. And the dining room, you know, it was quite expensive to hire. And then we ate in Circa. And Circa's renowned for its beautiful menu and its elegant surroundings. So, you know, I paid for everybody to have lunch, and I hired the room. And I charged $297 for the day. And I wanted to run 2 events. The idea was to keep it intimate. That's another of my Eiffel Towers, another signature element to my brand, is that things are intimate. So each event only had 8 women in it. And I went about filling those events and, you know, filled both of them, thankfully, and ran my first event last week. I had 8 women in the room, and I converted 3 with another one that looks like converting as well. My goal, knowing the people that I had in the room that day, was 3. So I reached that goal. The people that I have in the room next Friday, I think it's going to be a better room. Just the businesses are more in line with with the bigger program that I'm going to be offering. So, okay, so the first thing that I did was I set the date and made sure that I had beautiful surroundings, and that was fantastic. The next thing that I did was I created content that I knew would convert. You know, I knew from running my other event that sold people into a bigger program for my martial arts brand, I knew that there is this balance that you have to find between giving them enough information, allowing them to buy into your concepts and think, yeah, that's exactly right, I need to do all of those things. And then also creating enough overwhelm so that they know that, you know, they need to do all these things. It makes sense. It sounds perfect. And they know they have to do all of these things that I've spelled out, but they know that doing it on their own, if they attempt to do it on their own, they're going to get bogged down. So it's that keeping them in vision, giving them enough information to make them get really excited about the concepts, fully understand them, know that they will work for them, and then also, you know, allow them to see that what I've given them on the day is this much of this, you know, and that they can attempt to do it on their own, but there's a good chance that they won't. There's a good chance that they won't. And you know yourself, if you've purchased programs and, you know, if you've watched, you know, sales videos, sequences and things like that, you think, you know, I'm going to do all of that stuff and I'm going to follow through, and often it just doesn't happen. And so in the mastermind, what one of the selling features of that, and one of the things about, you know, the content was, you know, continually touching on, so this is what you need to do. And in the mastermind, we tackle that, you know, we make sure that that gets ticked off the list. So always nodding towards the mastermind throughout the course of the day with the content, but also, you know, again, that balance of content that will convert, because they're sold on the idea, they know that it's going to work for them, and then they realize that, you know, it's an onion, you know, that they can go out and attempt to do it, but they know that once they peel this layer back, there's another layer and another layer. So it's that nice balance of giving really good value, because at the end of the day, it's important for me as well that anybody who comes along to the event that doesn't sign up to the mastermind is still walking away with a plan of action, and they're still equipped to be able to make the most of the content that's given that day. So it's important to me that it is a standalone product and the value is there. But again, you know, making sure that they see that they're going to be far better off trying to attempt everything that I've spelled out in the day in my program, and they know that if they sign up for the program that it will get done. So yeah, just recapping for some of the people that came in late, the two elements that I've covered so far out of the 4 that I'm going to get to today, which I think are the important elements for creating a successful event that's going to convert people into your high-end programs. So the first thing is create your signature event. So make sure that the signature event is really in keeping and aligned with your brand and aligned with the high-end program that you want to sell. So the event that I held was very luxurious and elegant, and, you know, it screamed of, you know, luxury and expensive, you know, expensiveness, and that's a new word, and all that sort of stuff. So the women that walked into the room, they were blown away straight away, and they were engaged straight away because it was so mind-blowingly beautiful. My PA had been in there a couple of hours before me, and there were flowers and candles everywhere. My workbooks looked amazing, and the room was fabulous. And then we were across the room from the dining room that was stunning as well. So, you know, everything screamed opulence, and it gave them a real sense of, you know, wow, this is so amazing. Stepping out of their daily life, it stepped them straight into that aspirational space. You know, this is what they want their life to be about. This is what they're working in their businesses, you know, to get towards. So it was creating the scene for that. So creating your signature event is the first thing. And then the next thing is creating content that converts. So it's about delivering content that is a good balance of, you know, inspiring them to take action, showcasing, you know, your content, your ideas and concepts, and also, you know, the balance has to tip them towards overwhelm, so that they know that, you know, the only true chance of success they have of implementing all this stuff is through your program. So they're the first 2 steps. And the second step was about creating, you know, an offer that was too good to be true. So an offer that was going to convert them. So not just, for me, it wasn't just a discount on the price if they signed up on that day, although that was quite sizable as well. It was the inclusion of a lot of other things that, you know, came to another $1,800 or something on the day, but it was stuff that was really valuable to them. So I'd done a little bit of research, and there were things that I knew that they wanted but had put in the too hard basket. And so the inclusions that I added were things like an SEO report. It was a highly professional video intro and outro. It was a highly professional and polished sales page. It was a 12-month membership in a champagne club. I can't remember, there's maybe one or two other things as well, but all things that were really highly important. And, you know, they wanted to sign up anyway. And if they signed up on the day, then they were going to get all these things. And it was a bit of a no-brainer. So those bonuses were only available on the day. The discount of a few $1,000s was only available on the day as well. And the thing with those offers is you have to be 100% serious about this. And I learned this at my last event. And what I mean by that is when I offer it for that day, it's only for that day. And I make it very, very clear that, you know, if you call me tomorrow, that offer is not going to be there. So if you want all of these bonuses and you want the discount, you need to take action now. Because, you know, I do have another lady that's contemplating it. And if she signs up, that will be the exception rather than the rule. Because what tends to happen is, even though it's a high-end big ticket item, when people walk out of the room, the first thing that they're going to do is start to convince themselves that they can't afford it or they don't need it. So you have to convert people in the room on that day if you want to make the sale. And so that's why those offers must be too good to be true. It's so important that that's the case. So be thinking about all of the things that you can add on that are highly valuable to your market. You know, the success of this came from the fact that, you know, I knew my market very intimately. I knew what they wanted. I knew what they aspired to. And I also knew where their struggles were. And I built my program and the daily, you know, the content in that day around that stuff. So knowing your market and, you know, what it is that they're struggling with and what it is that they aspire to are really important elements to that. So you need to do your homework on that. The last thing is filling the event. So I did things differently this time. When I sold my event in my other brand, I did it via my list, and I also did it via cold calling, and I sent out flyers and things like that. And so that was, it was really hard work, and the price point was lower. I think I was charging $197 for the day, whereas the one that I ran on Friday was $297. Different market, and they're just so much tougher to convert. But it was just, it seemed like I was on the phone and I was getting no after no after no after no. And how I filled that room, I just don't know. I had other people on the phones for me because it really was hard work. And, you know, I went into different martial arts suppliers and they would promote it for me, and I had flyers out and all that sort of stuff. And I ran some Facebook ads, and it worked okay, but this time it worked 100% better. So what I did differently this time to what I did last time was, well, one, I didn't have a list, so I couldn't use that list. What I did for this one was I used highly targeted Facebook ads, and those ads led to a sales page, and then they had to apply. So no one could just go, and I tested two things. I tested running Facebook ads where they could land on the page and sign up for the event. I had a video on the page and all that sort of stuff. So I was doing all the right things, but it didn't convert. People weren't signing up. So then what I did was I created the same ad, and I changed the link on the sales page, and I made it go straight to an application process. So when they clicked, they had to apply to the event. I asked some really strategic questions in the questionnaire, and then I followed up with phone calls and emails. That's what made the difference this time. These people were opting in, they'd shown their interest, they'd spent time filling out the application form, and then it was really simple for me to just follow up. And then when I was at the event, I was asking them a few questions, just getting some feedback. And pretty much all of them said the thing that made the difference was that you picked up the phone and you called us. Now, for those of you who have fear around picking up the phone, that's me. I really don't like it. But, I decided that this was something that I had to do, and it was a means to an end. And if I wanted to fill this room, I was going to have to call these people. And, I got yes after yes after yes. I think from memory, there were 60 leads, maybe not even that many. And I filled the event from that. There were a couple of women who had purchased and then at the last minute weren't able to make it, and I filled those spots as well. I gave those away. I got in contact with some other female entrepreneurs that I know and said, look, I've got these 2 tickets. They've already been paid for. You don't need to charge your people, but if you would like to send along, or if you would like to gift these to your clients, any clients that you think would use them, feel free to do that. So those 2 spots got filled doing that. And I feel really good about that. And yeah, I think 1 converted as well. So I'm not into giving the tickets away. So there was never ever going to be come along for free. For one, the event had to pay for itself because it was quite expensive to run. And I also didn't want to have people in the room that hadn't paid the money, because it was important to me to get 8 people in the room. I kept it to 8 women each one. It was really important to get 8 people in the room who had invested that money, because I knew they had the mindset to invest beyond that, and it worked out to be the case. And filling those last 2 spots was done strategically as well. I knew these women were entrepreneurs, and I knew that they had already invested money in their business, and they were likely to do so again. They weren't just 2 randoms that I dragged off the street to fill out the spaces. So just to recap again, when you want to set your event up, think about it as your Eiffel Tower. Paris and the Eiffel Tower are synonymous. You can't think of one without the other. When you think Paris, you think Eiffel Tower, and it stands for something that's very unique to that town or to that city, and people resonate with it. It's a beautiful thing. People go all over the world to visit the Eiffel Tower. So your event needs to be your Eiffel Tower. You have a signature program that is your Eiffel Tower, and this is kind of the step before it, but it still needs to be an event that stands out. The market's flooded, especially when I started promoting this. What I noticed was everybody was selling events. I'm like, oh, wrong time. But I still managed to fill it. And what was different about mine is I called it Let's Do Lunch. And I spoke about how luxurious it was going to be. I spoke about the topics that we're going to be covering. And it was very unique and different, and very much a reflection of me, and also a stepping point between that and my high-end program. So make sure that everything about that event screams your brand. Okay, make sure it's really screaming your brand. So for me, if I had have turned up to this event with my ass hanging out of my pants when I'm talking about elegance and luxury and all that sort of stuff, it just wouldn't have sold. So everything had to come together and be cohesive around my brand. Second thing was making sure that you develop content that converts. So content that showcases your best work, shows them the concepts and ideas that you have, but also tips them into overwhelm, so that they know that doing your program is the answer, and we'll get them there. The third thing is making sure that you have offers that convert. Make them too good to be true, because if they walk out the door on that day, you're not going to get a second chance. So making sure that the offer is so good to be true, filled with offers and value adds that your market truly, truly values and wants. And the last thing is filling your event. So touched on that a little bit, but it's about what I did was I used highly targeted Facebook ads that pointed to my sales page, that then the link there was to an application process. They had to fill in the application form, and then I followed up with the leads. I did some of the phone calls, but I had my PA do a lot of the phone calls as well, and she converted really well as well. So instead of getting no after no after no, I think the first day I rang 5 women and I converted 3 out of the 5, or it might have even been more than that. So very quickly, it happened very, very quickly. Anyway, I'm not seeing any questions. So I'm not sure if it's because I'm not sure what I'm doing when it comes to the Hangout. But if you have any questions, post them in. I'm just going to share my screen with you for a second, because what I've done is with all the questions and everything else that have come up, how do I screen share? Bear with me, screen share. Okay, so I'm going here, share, and I'm going here. Okay, so what I've done, like all good entrepreneurs do, is I've created a program based on this. So if you go to theartofkickinguselegantly.com, I'm starting a 4-week online program to help you do exactly what I did. So if you click on that, it'll go to the program. And so it's going to be 4 weeks. And the first week is about where we create your signature event. So all of the things that we spoke about, making sure that all of the finishing touches are cohesive and really truly reflect your brand. If you're going to sell high-end products, you need to make sure that all of your ducks are in a row and everything comes into alignment around the event. It needs to, people need to walk in and feel like, oh yeah, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to take my business. So that's really important. Week 2, we talk about content that converts. So I help you to develop the content and the workbooks and all of the information, including your enrollment forms and your offer page, all that sort of stuff. So we work on all of the content and the paperwork that you need to convert people on the day. Week 3 is all about your offer, creating that offer that's too good to refuse, working out what are the add-ons that you can be adding to make sure that people convert on the day, because if they leave, it's no good. And then filling your event. So I step you through all the strategies that I employ to fill both events without a list. And so what's included, it's 4 hangout workshops like these, and they'll be recorded and sent to you. Comprehensive workbook to get your best thinking down on paper, access to the private Facebook group where I'll be answering questions, giving feedback. So when you're designing your sales page, when you're designing your flyers and things like that, you want to be able to, put that into the group and say, girls, how does this look? And then get feedback on it so that you know that when you release it out into the big wide world that it's looking good. Okay, at the moment, or for, until the 30th, there is one single payment, which is $749 for the 4 weeks. I also have a payment plan, which is 4 payments of $199. I'm also going to include, for anybody who pays a single payment, a 60-minute Skype session with moi that you can use in any way that you like. So if you're getting bogged down somewhere and you want to use that, you can. And for anybody who purchases on the payment plan, they receive a 30-minute Skype session as well. So the way to find that is theartofkickinguselegantly.com. Scroll down and you'll see this big ass picture there that you can't miss. And then from there, you can purchase. I'm just going to stop screen sharing and go back. So that's basically it, unless you have any specific questions that you want answered, because I'm here to answer those for you. And can't do that unless you ask them. So I'm just going to post that page into the comments box so that you can, there we go. So you can click on that. If you'd like to go and click on that page, you'll be able to access all the information that I showed you on that program there. But honestly, if you've been putting it off, if you've been fearful of running an event thinking that it won't work or you won't be able to fill it, honestly, go for it. What this has meant for me, bottom line, is, I sold $66,000 worth of programs in one day. I'm going to at least double that next Friday. And I also have some Skype one-on-ones in the interim, and there's a good chance I'll convert a couple of those as well. I will fill that program. So at the end of the day, what that means is if I, add that up on my calculator, that's going to add, no, that's not right, 66,000 times 8, 66,000 times 8. Something wrong with my computer, with my calculator, because it's not right. Okay, here we go. 66. Who can do maths? Times 5. Okay, that's not going to work. It's just under a couple of $100,000 bottom line. You know, that's going to add, it's about $160,000, I think, $176,000 that adds to my bottom line this year. I'm going to replicate the same thing in Sydney. So double that. And plus, you know, the women that come along to the events who don't convert but then want to take up coaching. So running those events is going to net, you know, $500,000 this year, you know, from the people that were in the room on those days. You just can't do that any other way. So if you've been putting it off, it's so, so important that you do it. And I can show you how. I would love you to be a part of the program because I'm excited about this content. It's something that's going to just make you do it. You know, at the end of the day, $750 is a very small amount of money to invest if it's going to make you do it. Set the date. Know that everything that you do is going to fill that event. You'll fill the event. If you've got confidence in your high-end program, and you know that it's going to be a successful thing, if you can just get the people to fully understand what it is that you're trying to do, then, you know, invest the $750, spend some coaching time with me. But even if you don't do that, just go for it. You know, if I hadn't have done that, I would have had no idea that I was capable of, you know, that level of success so quickly. With my other brand, I converted, I think I had 8 people in the room as well, and I converted 5, but it was a lower price point. It was about a $10,000 program. I had no idea that I could do the same thing with a $22,000 program until I actually gave it a go. And, you know, it worked. And I'll be honest with you, selling the $22,000 program was no more difficult than selling the $10,000 program. In fact, I think it was easier. So, you know, really back yourself. If you've got this high-end program or product and you know that it will convert, if you can get enough people to understand fully what it is that you're doing and what it will do for them, then run your event. You know, do not hold off on it. Be sure that you run the event. Now, most of you are in my Google circles now. And a lot of you are friends on Facebook. So please feel free to contact me that way. Jump on the website, my email's on there. Probably the quickest and best way, if you've got any questions, is through message me on Facebook. And I'll answer any questions, because it looks like, unless I haven't worked out the chat feature properly, it looks like nobody's got any questions. So we're all busy, so I'm going to leave you with that. I hope to see you on the program, and if I don't, I'll see you around whatever Facebook group it is that I come to know you through. Take care and run that event. Bye.